So you want to own a barbershop. You have sat in that chair, cape around your neck, clippers buzzing, a guy 2 chairs down talking about his weekend, the owner behind the register, ringing people out all day. You look at that and you think one thing: 6 chairs, 6 barbers, 6 streams of cash all day long. And you are right, except the owner in that shop probably is not making money from any of those haircuts. He is making money from the chairs themselves. Most barbershops in America do not pay their barbers a wage and do not take a cut of what they earn. The barber pays the shop a flat fee every week, whether he cuts 1 head or 30. The owner is not running a haircut business. He is running a landlord operation with a comb on the sign. So here is the plan. We build a barbershop from zero using real numbers. What it costs to open, what a chair actually rents for, and what happens on a slow Tuesday. Then the reframe that changes what this business really is, and the tax trap that catches owners who get it wrong. Start with why this industry keeps growing while so many other small storefronts shrink. Barbering is projected to grow faster than the average occupation over the next decade, adding tens of thousands of new openings every single year. That growth is exactly why the commission versus rental question matters more now than it did a generation ago. More chairs are changing hands, and more owners are choosing a structure without ever running the math. Start with the ticket price. This is a genuinely cheap business to open by commercial standards. A small 2 or 3 chair shop runs $25,000 to $50,000. A full 4 to 6 chair build out lands somewhere between $50,000 and $150,000. Barber chairs alone run $500 to $2,000 each. For a 3 chair shop, that is $1,500 to $6,000 just in chairs. Add clippers, trimmers, a lease deposit, and licensing, and a lean shop can open its doors for well under $30,000. A premium build in a competitive urban market tells a different story. Once you add a full renovation, high-end fixtures, and a proper waiting area, that same shop can run past $150,000 with a break-even point well over a year out. The gap between those two numbers is not really about chairs. It is about how much of the experience you are selling on top of the haircut itself. Licensing runs in 2 layers: a barber license for anyone cutting hair, and a separate shop or establishment license for the space itself. Add local permits, an occupancy inspection, and sanitation sign-off, and the timeline from lease signing to opening day usually runs 3 to 9 months. Most of that delay has nothing to do with the barbers or the chairs. It is waiting on a city inspector's calendar. And plan on 6 months of operating expenses sitting in reserve before you open, separate from the build-out budget entirely. Undercapitalization, not bad haircuts, is the most common reason a new shop does not survive its first year. Compare that to a restaurant or a gym or almost anything else with a storefront. The equipment is light, the build-out is fast, and the barrier to entry is mostly a permit, not a fortune. Now the 2 ways a shop actually runs, because this decision defines the entire business. The first is commission. The barber is an employee, paid a percentage of what he brings in. Common splits run 60-40 or 70-30 in the barber's favor. The owner sets the schedule, the prices, and the standards, and the shop feels like one business. A barber who brings in $5,000 a month in services at 60% takes home $3,000. The shop keeps $2,000 before its own overhead. The second is booth rental, sometimes called chair rental. The barber pays a flat weekly fee, keeps everything he earns, and runs his own mini business inside your walls. Typical rent runs somewhere between $150 and $1,500 a month per chair, depending on the market. That same barber doing $5,000 of services under a $600 monthly rental keeps $4,400 of it. $1,100 a month better off, purely from switching how the chair is priced, with the exact same clients and the exact same scissors. On paper, rental looks better for the owner. Guaranteed income, no payroll, no scheduling headaches, no employment taxes. But here's the number almost nobody runs before choosing. Industry calculators put the break-even point somewhere around $5,000 to $6,000 a month in a barber's own service revenue. Below that line, commission usually keeps more money in the shop's pocket because the owner is covering rent, utilities, laundry, and product regardless of how busy that chair actually is. Above that line, rental wins for the owner too, because the fee is fixed while the barber's output keeps climbing. So the real decision is not which model sounds more passive. It is a bet on how good your barbers actually are. Rent to a slow chair, and you have priced yourself below what commission would have paid you. Rent to a busy chair, and you have capped your own upside on your best performer permanently at a few $100s a week. Now the invisible machine, because the interesting part of this business is not the haircut. It is what the rental structure quietly does to who owns what. Under booth rental, the barber owns his client list, sets his own prices, and can leave anytime, taking every one of those clients with him. The shop owns nothing but the chair and the address. Under commission, the shop owns the client relationship, the brand, and the pricing. If a barber leaves, most of his clients stay because they book through the shop, not through him personally, which means booth rental optimizes for cash flow today, and commission optimizes for the value of the business itself. A commission shop with steady staff and a loyal client base can be sold because it has retained value beyond any one person's scissors. A booth rental shop is closer to renting out desks in a co-working space. When the tenants leave, so does almost everything that made the business worth anything. Now, the part that turns this from a business decision into a legal one. The IRS does not accept the label on your contract. It looks at who actually controls the work. If you set a barber's hours, require your products, dictate his prices, or supervise how he cuts, the law may see an employee wearing a renter badge, no matter what the paperwork says. Under the relevant IRS relief section, unintentional misclassification carries $50 per unfiled W-2, 1.5% to 3% of wages, and 20% to 40% of the unpaid payroll taxes. Willful misclassification removes those reductions entirely and adds criminal fines up to $1,000 per worker with personal liability for the owner. The test itself is not complicated, even if the consequences are. Does the renter set his own hours? Does he buy his own product? Does he have a key, a phone line, a business name of his own? Strip those away, one at a time, and what is left on paper as a renter looks in practice exactly like an employee. This is not a hypothetical. 5 Bay Area salons settled a wage and hour lawsuit for $1 million, covering 229 stylists who argued they were functioning as employees in every way except the paperwork. Unpaid overtime, no meal breaks, being asked to recruit unpaid training models. All the hallmarks of employment dressed up as independent rental. The lesson is not that rental is illegal. Plenty of shops run it correctly. The lesson is that calling someone a renter does not make them one. And the gap between the label and the reality is where the lawsuits live. A genuine renter should have a key to the shop, his own supply account, and full control over his own calendar. If any of that is missing, the label will not hold up under an audit. If this breakdown is useful, subscribe. It genuinely helps. Now, the risks beyond the tax trap. And the first one is simply arithmetic that owners avoid doing. An empty chair under rental still owes you nothing beyond the barber's willingness to keep paying. If your best renter has a bad month and cannot make rent, you can evict him, but then the chair sits empty, earning $0, while your own rent and utilities keep running regardless. One empty chair in a 4-chair shop is not a quarter of your revenue gone. It is closer to a quarter of your revenue gone, while a quarter of your fixed costs remain exactly the same. A commission chair that goes quiet still generates something on a slow day, because you can put a walk-in in it yourself. A rented chair generates nothing until its tenant decides to show up. The second risk is concentration you cannot see coming. In a small shop, one barber often accounts for a large share of total chair revenue. Whether he is an employee or a renter, if he leaves for a shop 2 blocks away, that share of your income leaves with him, on his schedule, not yours. Under commission, the shop typically keeps most of his former clients. Under rental, he takes the client list out the door, because it was legally always his. Some owners try to solve this with a non-compete clause in the rental agreement. Courts in several states have struck those down for independent contractors, on the grounds that you cannot restrict where a genuine renter chooses to work. You cannot have it both ways. Either he is independent enough to owe you rent instead of loyalty, or he is controlled enough to be an employee. The contract cannot claim both at once. The third risk is the one built into cutting hair for a living, physically. Barbers face significant rates of repetitive strain injury from standing and repetitive motion for years. Workers' compensation for a barber employee is real. For a booth renter, most states require him to carry his own coverage, and plenty simply do not, until the day they need it. And when an uninsured renter gets hurt on your floor, whether or not you owe him anything depends entirely on whether that classification was correct in the first place. Which means the tax question and the injury question are actually the same question, asked twice by two different government agencies. All right, numbers. 2 shops, 4 chairs each, same rent, same neighborhood. Shop 1 runs commission at 60% to the barber. Each chair produces $4,000 a month in services. Total revenue, $16,000. Barber pay, $9,600. The shop keeps $6,400 before its own rent and overhead. Shop 2 runs booth rental at $600 per chair per month. Guaranteed income, $2,400, regardless of what any single chair actually produces that month. In a strong month, when barbers are busy, Shop 1's owner is making far more than Shop 2's because he is sharing in upside the rental owner gave away for certainty. In a weak month, when chairs go quiet, Shop 2's owner is still collecting his $2,400, while Shop 1's income shrinks along with his barber's output. Neither model is simply better. Shop 1 is a bet on strong barbers and a strong local market. Shop 2 is a bet on stability when you are not confident either will hold. There is a third lever most owners forget entirely, and it applies to both models equally. Retail. Pomade, beard oil, combs, aftercare kits sold at the counter carry markups a service ticket never will. And every one of those sales belongs to the shop, not to whichever barber happens to be standing nearest the register. A shop that trains every barber, commission or renter, to make that recommendation at the chair can add real margin without cutting a single extra head of hair. The owners who get this wrong are the ones who pick a model based on which one sounds more relaxing, rather than running their own numbers against their own chairs. Run the actual break-even for every chair individually once a quarter. A shop with 4 chairs rarely has 4 chairs performing identically, and a single model applied uniformly across all of them is usually wrong for at least one. So who is this business for? Commission rewards an owner who wants to build something that has value beyond himself. A brand, a client list, a business he can eventually sell. Booth rental rewards an owner who wants predictable income today and is comfortable that the business is worth very little the moment the chairs empty out. Both are legitimate. Neither is passive. The owners who treat either model as a set and forget decision are the ones who eventually get an unpleasant letter, either from the IRS or from an empty chair they never priced correctly. And underneath either model sits the same quiet fact. The haircut was never really the product. The product was always the chair, and precisely who controls what happens to it, on paper and in practice, is the entire business.